I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
Giulio, I drank more. One sec, guys. We'll get to it in a second. I drank so much Diet Coke this year, and that's your fault.
Why?
Because you showed me Red Bull earlier this year. Welcome back to Oops the Podcast. I'm getting right into it. You showed me Red Bull way too soon. I was never supposed to drink it, and now I'm graduating. I'm Ryan Lynch. It's Giulio Gallerati. I've graduated to Diet Coke now, and it's a problem because I already take medicine, and now I drink Diet Coke too, and I have a caffeine addiction. Welcome to the podcast.
Well, bro, you
Why?
were drinking coffee a ton before, so
It's a different kind of caffeine.
It's true.
It's a different kind of caffeine. You know what's interesting?
What?
I saw a uncredited Instagram post headline saying that Gen Z is drinking less, but drinking more Diet Coke. And there's still problems with that.
Interesting.
People are switching over to soda and for their caffeine, people are getting caffeine and doing less alcohol, but there's still negative effects to doing both.
Do we know why they're drinking less? Can we chat GPT this?
They just dig deeper into nothing details.
Chat.
So
Failed us.
yeah.
Rare. Okay.
Yeah, but that unaccredited Instagram post, believe that.
Yeah, right. Have you seen that under the bridge party that happens? Have you seen that on social media?
No.
There's this under the bridge rave that happens all the time. And I don't know to what degree it's an event. I think it's just a place where people go out, and in my unk brain, I'm like, oh, that's a rave. I'm just see, I don't even know if rave is a term that people use, but it's this sort of day into night party. It happens under a bridge. And I think it's organized. You can't just show up and have a picnic. I think it's a quote venue. I think Cardi B is performing there apparently soon.
Oh, wow.
And it's close to here. And
Is it under one of our bridges?
Yeah. I forget which one, but it's near the Meeker exit off of the BQE, which is how I get to my apartment when I come back from the airport. So it's eastern part of Greenpoint, maybe getting near Bushwick. I'm not totally sure, but or East Williamsburg, whatever. But I'm curious about it, and it seems very in line with Gen Z behavior. I know they like vaping.
They like vaping, a lot of microdosing too.
Interesting.
The access to these gummies, everything, not everything, but things being more legal. It's easy to get your hands on some mushrooms today versus when you're in high school.
Yeah, I never heard the term microdose in high school, and I don't know if it's because I come from a sort of wooded area where it's not a lot of people, not a lot of street lights. People are very comfortable in the woods. Like my friends would go in the woods at night. It was not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And deep in the woods, in the fucking woods. So everybody, I never took any of this stuff in high school, but people were taking rock star doses of mushrooms in my high school. And I never took them, and I've never really done that. I've taken microdoses, and maybe sometimes to the point where a microdose and a half, which felt too much, if that makes sense. I've never taken a proper amount and don't want to. But yeah, people would take an eighth of mushrooms by themselves, and half an eighth of mushrooms is enough to make you fucking
see God
one with earth,
talk to
one
seagulls,
with the earth, makes you go nuts. High risk in that you'll have a great time probably, but you may have a really bad time at some point in it. And if 6 guys were doing it, one of them was going to have a bad experience at some point, if not the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting to me to have and maybe it's just because of where I was, but, and people, there was no social media, and also there was no access to very different ways of life. We didn't have the resources to go do stuff like that. And even if we intermingled with other towns who tended to go out, there was kids from the town over that would go to this Japanese place to drink because they wouldn't card you.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't a thing I learned about until I had this friend who lived in that town when I was a senior, and saw that that's a thing that they had been doing. In our town, nobody really did things differently than the people in the town. It was kind of a hippie town, Birkenstock era. Everybody loved Dave Matthews. And that was sort of the vibe.
There's a weed shop down by Domino Park that is like a sexy, beautiful, pretty weed shop. And so if you were to be a kid, an impressionable 16-year-old today, and you walk by that, you would think no matter what, like, okay, weed's not that bad. Like, it's legal and there's a store for it. Whereas I grew up in kind of a rural suburban town, and weed was like heroin in my eyes, my little bubbled eyes.
Interesting.
My sheltered eyes. I was like,
so even
I saw a bag
town?
of marijuana. I would like look both ways like a dozen times.
But were there like a lot of kids at the school doing it? You just weren't one of them?
Not at the physical school.
Not physically at the school, but kids who attended the school in their extracurricular activities.
Yeah.
Like weed was okay. But you like didn't hang with those kids?
I was so naive. I didn't know that was a world until like the second half of high school.
Got it. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I mean, and then, drinking culture was obviously there. That kind of like weed was like there first, and then kids started drinking like sort of into high school, and it would just kind of always be the same kind of thing. Somebody would have a party, somebody's parents were out of town, or somebody had like a setup where like they could host that even if their parents were there, and it like wasn't a problem. And then, people would drink and whatever. And yeah, man. Yeah. And college was the first time, because I know that they talk about college experience being, broke college kids, like, getting cheap beer and like drinking in the dorms or drinking on campus or drinking off campus. But like my school wasn't like that. It was a city school, and it was also an expensive school, and you're like in the city. So like kids who could afford it would like go to dinner. They'd like go to good dinners and like order drinks at dinner. And like, that was a thing that was, that I wasn't used to doing, because we didn't do that because it was just like too expensive. And like, there wasn't really anywhere to do it anyway. Like you could go to dinner. I'm sure we did that sometimes, but it wasn't like going out drinking. And like, there was no like, and there was sort of like the nightclub culture was sort of peaking during that time too. I remember when I first moved to New York City, like Meatpacking District was like the spot for like going out and like going to the club and like bottle service. And like, that was like a big era. And I remember people saying that like ruined New York City nightlife. Like before bottle service, everybody would like hang out and dance together and stuff. And bottle service does this thing where like, you now have your confined area and you don't interact with other people, and it like makes you feel like you're cool or something.
Yeah.
So there was that divide. But to me, it was like a fun time anyway. And in college, it was sort of the starter pack for that. Like there was New York City style nightclubs. If you wanted to go out and drink at bars in Boston, it was impossible. Like they were so thorough with the ID situation in a way where I didn't know this at the time because I'd never really been out in New York, but in New York, apparently it wasn't like that. It's more of kind of like a hustle culture. Like people move here to make money. Like they're not as concerned about that. They're like, all right, we'll check your ID like normally and not go overboard. Like some places scan them and maybe check them. But like when you bought fake IDs back in the day, like your fake ID could survive all those tests. But in Boston, they took it to the next level. So they had like all these ways of detecting whether or not yours was fake. And if they caught you, they would like get you in trouble at your school. Like I knew a kid who got in trouble. Like they took his ID and reported him, which is crazy. So in college, I had a guy who I went to high school with's ID. He was 21 and he let me have his license. He like got a new one and gave me his old one or something. So I just had this real license. It didn't look like me. So like in theory,
That's ridiculous.
yeah, it didn't look like me. You want to see what the guy looks like?
Yeah.
So it looked enough like me that like in a normal
The
situation,
same eye color.
like, yeah,
yeah.
we look nothing like each other. So if you looked closely, they would know, but no one ever really did. But in Boston, they would. So like, even if you had a real ID, this is the guy. We don't want to dox him, so we're not going to.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Scroll a little. It's a tough sell. It's a tough sell. He didn't have facial hair at the time. So like, but still, bro, like, but it's not like I was showing them your ID, like a blonde hair, blue eyed guy. It's dark hair. I guess similar. Our faces couldn't look more different, but like, okay.
I can see why you went with his ID.
And in theory, if I needed to like go to the liquor store somewhere, like not in Boston, it would work. It would work in any situation except in Boston. So like you'd have to know all of the information because they would start quizzing you. They'd be like, when's your birthday? What's your eye color? How tall are you? Me and this guy similar height, which mattered. And then they'd be like, what's your star sign? Like you'd have to know your horoscope. But anyway, even if you could pass all of that, sometimes they'd be like, this isn't you. But like, then they couldn't do anything about it because, whatever. But yeah, so like if you wanted to go out in Boston, you had to do the like nightclub scene because it was imported. So like the guys running it knew nightlife from other places. So they like cut their teeth in cities where like it didn't matter. So like you could go to these nightclubs and like the guy working the door like knew the deal. He knew everybody was in college and that no one was old enough. They'd be like, yeah, you're good. So there was the two different ones. There was the European style ones that were fun. And that was like the type of thing you'd be like, oh, like that place is like the European place. Like that's a whole different animal. But like, okay, like he hangs in that scene. You'd be like, okay, got it. But then, yeah, like, so, I would do some of that stuff and like go to these places. But they would be kind of expensive. So I'd have to be like tricky. You know what I mean? I'd be like, how do I like get in on this without having to pay and blah, 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 and et cetera. So anyway, that's how I kind of got into that whole thing. And then in New York City, it was like the golden era, this is 2008. And then into, I don't know, the mid teens, it was sort of like the house music, EDM, like mainstream era. Like before they were even saying EDM, like that term started to get used more. And then at some point, EDM just like turned into hip hop. Like all the DJs started making hip hop albums. Like some of those, like this song,
Calvin Harris?
Calvin Harris. Like that whole Calvin Harris album has all hip hop features. It's like Migos, Lil Yachty, Frank Ocean. But like before that, it was like pure, like, and like those songs were on the radio. But then there was also this sort of like European deep house thing where like there's just like beats the whole night and they're like kind of chill, which is still a thing. Like if you go to Europe, like you can find that easily, but it doesn't feel as much of a thing here these days. Unless I just don't know, which is possible. But like there's all these TikToks about how Meatpack, all the places are closed. And it's sort of like millennial nostalgia thing where it's like they walk by these places and they're boarded up or there's something else and it's like sad. And my boys will like send them to me. I'm like, all right, man, it's a new era. You got to look forward.
Got to adapt or die.
So anyway.
That was a good album by Calvin Harris too.
Yeah, it was.
You're good when you just do the first do-do-do-do-do's and someone knows right away.
Right, like Steve Aoki started doing like hip hop. I saw Steve Aoki perform at this club called Westway. Must have been 2009, 2010. It was like a small club. He was DJing. He was about to like blow up. Like it was cool. Like,
was he the Turbulence dude?
I don't know. But anyway, so it was like electro house, blah, 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 all this shit. So cool shit, whatever. And yeah, it's interesting that that's just like not as much of a thing these days. Guys, if you're looking to step up your nicotine pouch experience, Lucy Breakers or where
Lucy.
It's at. I like the Breakers. I like the regular Lucy OG as well. They come in different strengths, 4, 8, and 12. I'm a 4 guy personally. This is the apple cider breaker. The breakers are fun. You bite the little ball, get a little flavor burst, tuck it. If I have to sit down for a long period of time, which is most days since I am constantly editing videos, it is such a wonderful accompaniment. Pure nicotine, really solid. And yeah, it's my favorite way to pouch up. So highly recommend the Lucy.
Yeah, we love Lucy. So let's level up your nicotine routine with Lucy. Go to lucy.co/oops and use promo code OOPS to get 20% off your first order. Lucy has a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind. Again, that's lucy.co and use code OOPS to get 20% off. And here comes the fine print. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Hey, dude, so I know you've been saying you're living in the moment and you're not thinking about it, but your big trip is coming up really soon.
Yeah.
Are you thinking about it at all yet or still no?
You want to know the only thing I'm thinking about for the trip? Mm-hmm. I only care about the boots that I just bought.
Nice.
I got new boots for the trip. That's what I'm excited about.
Safari boots?
The safari, learning about the Serengeti and getting close to the animals are cool. But I got these really sick boots, and I'm more excited about that.
Sick.
They got laces, they got loops, they're different colors, and Vic's dad, my father-in-law, is going to give me so many aura points for it when I bring it up to New Hampshire this summer.
I love
so much aura. I'm aura farming right now. Dude. That's the whole point of things right now is aura farming.
Aura farming is a big term. I saw a really funny aura farming video. I may have sent it to you. I don't remember. But this guy walks into a bar and he drops a piece of paper. And a girl picks it up and gives it to him. And then he signs it. Dude, it's hilarious.
What's on the piece of paper?
Nothing. He acts like, obviously he did this on purpose, which is why it's aura farming, but like she wants him to sign it.
That's funny.
even though that's not what she's doing. And the girls like love it. They think it's the funniest thing in the world. Like that guy could marry all of them potentially. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
That's funny.
I might need to do it.
I love how people are getting called out for aura farming. What a funny term.
I need to
dude.
start doing. I'm going to write down that I need to do this to someone. This aura farming in particular.
I'll give you an example. You're on the subway and you're holding a book and you take a picture of the book and you're not actually reading the book, but you post a picture of you holding the book, making it look like you're reading the book on the subway, and you post it so that to make everyone think that you're reading a book on the subway, but you're not. You're just posting a photo of you reading a book on the subway without reading it. That's aura farming.
Aura farming.
That's aura farming.
Big time.
Big time. So yeah, I'm excited for the trip. For the most part, got our yellow fever shot. That's fine. I got my other medication waiting for me at the pharmacy. I'm going to pick that up after this today. And then I'm more focused right now on the wedding that I'm officiating, which is going to be about a week before the trip. But as soon as that's done,
ready to go. So what's the route? What's the flight route again?
we're flying Kenya Air.
So to Nairobi.
Nairobi. We're going directly to Nairobi. Then we're going from Kilimanjaro Airport to Zanzibar.
Cool.
And then Zanzibar to Kenya to JFK.
Cool. And this Kenya flight, will that be the longest flight you've ever been on?
15, yeah.
So that's a serious flight.
Yep. I think we got Xanax.
Nice.
I think we got Xanax. We talked to the infectious disease doctor and we were like, can we have some Xanax? We've never done it before.
Wow.
So
I potentially recommend trying it before you do it for the flight.
we will.
Yeah.
He told us that too.
And interesting. Okay. Is that worrying to you at all, the length of that flight?
The length, no. But just flying, yeah. And so for flying longer, yeah.
Yeah.
Why? Is there any tips or anything I should be on the lookout for?
I have nothing to add to this. I know that like doing sort of the unknown just inevitably sort of adds its own layer of nerves to things, even for me. And they kind of don't go away. And I don't know that I want them to, because if they were to, that means that you're getting numb to things that should be exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, I'm doing show in Abu Dhabi, in the end of this month, which I know I haven't talked about in the pod before, but I'm open to repeat in Abu Dhabi, which is going to be really cool. I mean,
That's sick.
probably will be the biggest crowd I've ever performed for, et cetera, et cetera. So I've done that flight. I don't think I'm flying on the Abu Dhabi airline. I think I'm flying on Emirates. So there's like a drive once you arrive, which is all good. But I've done that flight before. So I've done that one specifically, and I've done the New York to Qatar a couple times. So I'm like ready for it. It's 12 and a half. I've done 15 also, and it's a really long flight. I guess the only thing I can say is if I'm in a place where I've just like treated my body well, meaning like not even necessarily well rested, but like I think you'd be sadistic to go into that flight hungover. And some people might be like, oh, you'll sleep better. It's not true for me. It gives me like, whereas normally I'm pretty tolerant of long flight distances. Like if I'm really tired or hungover, or even if I drink on the flight, like it makes my flight terrible. Like so brutal. Like I remember I was in Budapest for a wedding, and like flying back the day after the wedding was just really, really tough.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really tough flight. So as long as you're like as long as you're just being reasonable with yourself, like I don't see any reason why it'll be a big deal. And especially now, like, you know, there's some plenty, those long flights, like, and Air Kenya is a good airline. Like there's going to be plenty of good stuff to do. Like the food will be solid. Like there'll be good entertainment. You may or may not have Wi-Fi, but like, it doesn't matter.
Wi-Fi's not a thing in the air.
And to be honest, this is a problem with it. Like it's in theory a good development that exists on some flights, but like on my Qatar flight, there was Starlink, and there was dudes listening to memes on full volume on a plane. Like that's how good the Wi-Fi works.
That's not good.
Which is bad. That's like a bad, like any new
It should never be that good.
Any positive development typically comes with some negatives. So that's one there. But yeah, dude, I mean, I think you'll be good. Like, and once you can get through that, I mean, the longest direct flight in the world is still, I think, that New York to Singapore, which I think is close to 19 hours. So if you can do 15, you can do 19. So it's cool to know. It'll be cool to know that like you can handle anything.
It will be cool. It'll be cool. Once we're there, I'll be excited. I'll be honest. I hope we have fun. I hope we have fun.
Yeah.
I hope we have fun.
So I'm going to be on your coattails. I'm flying Air Kenya home from my trip. That's on the heels of yours. Much different trip.
Just recording some ads.
Just for the
That's it.
I will show up to record some ads. But I think I'm gonna try. I don't know if I'll be able to do this. It might be too difficult to make it worth it, or too expensive. But I'm gonna try to be ambitious with it and even overcome some of those obstacles if they arise. But I'm gonna have one of those long layovers in Nairobi, long enough that I think I'm gonna try to live stream. I think I'm gonna try to call an Uber, convince the Uber driver to be my guide, and go all around Nairobi and live stream the whole thing. Which I think is like a fun use of the time. It's not enough time to like make a proper video. But I think that the live streaming thing is an interesting component that I don't really understand. I'm still trying to wrap, that's another unk thing of myself. Like, I don't get it. Like, I watched Aiden Ross's stream the other day where he's like with Lil Baby and Tyler Hero, and like they go to a paintball place and they hang around, then they like sit in the dude's bedroom and they talk about shit sometimes. Other times they just sit there, and I don't get it. Nothing interesting happened at all.
But people are tuning in.
I think it's like the most viewed thing on earth. Like, I think like Kai and like the iShow Speed guy and everything, like these guys have followings and fans like Michael Jackson in his prime. Like, they are the Michael Jacksons of our era. Mm-hmm. So whatever they're doing, and I know Kai like has this big personality and is this like lovable, watchable guy, and these guys tend to be. But even on his stream, like they kind of just like sit there, they watch stuff, like famous people pull up, like, okay, all interesting. But like, and maybe that is interesting to people, but like, I don't see how not doing anything is interesting. And maybe it's because I'm old, but I don't necessarily think that any of these people have anything that's particularly interesting to like contribute. And they don't know stuff. They're young kids and they like stream and they like hang out in their room. Like, what could they possibly know? You know what I mean?
They're just vibes.
I'm very impressed by young people's success and whatever the new thing is. And there's times where I'm like, wow. And I think that streaming in that capacity is undeniable, obviously. I just don't get it, which makes me feel self-conscious. So I'm trying to get it. And I think eventually I'll get it. And I'll be like, I get it now. But I'm not there yet, Lynch.
All right. Well, streaming sounds like a great start.
I guess.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
But I feel, when you do a thing that you don't understand, there is this real, you do open yourself up to embarrass yourself. I think I attribute it to like the social media that my generation is familiar with, which is like all the Instagram and all the apps. And even now millennials are starting to get a little unkish with it because the way the Instagram works has changed. And I see people from my generation using it the way that it used to be used, which is interesting. It's interesting that these things have their own life cycles where like they reinvent themselves and then people can't catch up. But like the way that, say, your grandma or your dad even would like post a thing that shouldn't be a hard post. Like, it'll be a cool picture of a plant and they'll hard post it. And you're like, that's not what that's for. I'm afraid of doing the equivalent with streaming. I think it's potentially inevitable.
I would give yourself a little more credit, but I get the fear.
Got to rip the Band-Aid off
I get the
and
fear.
try, you know what I mean?
Maybe I'll give you some of the Xanax I was prescribed.
Thanks.
To help you out.
I appreciate it. What are we at?
We're good.
Yeah? Sweet. So anyways, food for thought, and hope you guys feel like you're able to sort of cross the bridge into these new generations every decade or so when they happen. And it's amazing how consistently things change. And all I'll say to you all is the only reason why anything is special is because it doesn't last forever. Being a vampire is the worst curse that you could ever have, being alive forever. It is terrible. Nothing matters. You lose people. Now, granted, if everybody could live forever, maybe it'd be different. But like, things are special for a reason. Enjoy the time while it's happening. And then don't sit there wishing that you could recreate it, make new memories, because you're going to anyway. And then you'll miss those memories and forget that whole time you were missing the memories of the generation before. Anyway, I want to keep talking about this because I think there's an interesting thing with sports as well. But that's that. Not Julio. Ryan is really polite. Oops, the podcast. We love you guys a lot. Means the world to us that for those of you guys who've ridden with us for all these years, I think it's a testament to the type of people you are. You're riders, you're good people, you're loyal, and we appreciate it. Check out my travel stuff on YouTube. Not Julio is the channel. Please subscribe and like all my shit and comment on it all. Give me those algo bumps. And then get on my Patreon. Also Not Julio on Patreon. Got some really cool extras, especially if you like my travel stuff. I think you really. Also, I'm going to be at the Comedy Club at Duckworth's on the 17th to the 19th of July. That is in Charlotte, North Carolina. In August, New York City, 2 shows at the Stand, August 21st. Check those out. 26th and 27th of September at Coastal Creative in St. Pete, my second home. And November 7th, I will be in Houston, Texas at Riot, I think it's called, Comedy Club. All on my website, notjulio.com. I'm trying to add an LA date in early November because I'm going to be out there anyway. Keep your eyes and ears peeled for that. Lynch, anything to add?
Yeah, thanks to everyone that came to Steam Room Etiquette's third show last night. Had a blast. Got to meet a couple of you. It was really nice. And just check out my socials at Ryan is Really Polite. Updates on the next show and everything else that's being made in between. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.